Hello, I hope you're doing well. I actually cannot believe I am filming this video. I'm a graduate. How weird is that? Last week I got my final uni grades for my final projects, and I also got my overall grade for my entire degree. Like, how crazy is that? And I'm so happy. I am graduating with a 2-1, so that's really good. And yeah, I just thought, like I did the last 2 years, well, I actually filmed them both last year, I thought I would share with you my third year uni portfolio. So that's really cool. I'm just going to dive straight into it because it's probably going to be a long video. Yeah, I hope you enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions about uni, literally anything at all. I will be happy to answer in the comments below. So yeah, let's get into it. The third year at university for me, this is probably going to change for the next year group, and probably varies across different unis, but I'm going to talk from my own experience, of course. And I had 4 modules, I believe, this year. I don't know why my voice went really high then. I haven't filmed a video in so long, it feels so strange. I believe we had 4 modules. In first term we had a development portfolio project and the dissertation that was handed in November. And then between January and May we had 2 projects, one which was the final portfolio and the other one was called Audience and Context, which was supposed to be our degree show exhibition and putting together the audience and context of your final project. It's the only way I can describe it. To be honest, I'm still a bit unsure about what it really means, which is not good, but I did really good on that module, so I did something right, I guess. In this video, I'm mostly going to talk through like my practical work, so I'm going to leave the dissertation module out of this video because I feel like that's a whole video in itself. So if you have any questions about dissertations for a photography course, or maybe you're in second or first year and you're like, oh my god, what does a photography dissertation look like? What, you know, if you have any questions about it at all, like what do you write, how's it structured, everything like that, let me know in the comments below and I will make that video very soon, because I definitely want to share with you kind of what I did and tips for if I were to do it again, because I definitely could have done better. So yeah, let me know on that front. But yeah, I'm going to talk about photography and the photos in this video. The first project that I did in first term when we came back to uni at the end of September was the development portfolio, which I titled Serene. That was my project title that I actually came up with at the end. But I did a project that looked at self-portraiture, so myself, but also a landscape project, and I looked at the sort of connection that oh, the dog's come to join me. So if you can hear sighing or licking or noises, it's the dog, she's just here. Project was looking at my own connection with nature and the landscape and the ocean, and how I could reflect that into photography and, I don't know, like express that through self-portraiture and landscape photos. That's the best way I can kind of describe it. And it kind of bounced off the back of another project that I did in second year. Also, if you want to check out those videos that I did of my first year and second year portfolio, I leave them linked in the description below, and I think up there. I'm now gonna do like a split screen because, as with my second year portfolio, if you've seen that, it's all now digital, apart from obviously like printing your images so that you can actually see what they look like printed, and then the final submission is normally physical, so you have to print everything out, spend loads of money on printing. However, well, this project was like that, but obviously my final project I handed in this May, so that didn't happen because we all did it at home. I'm going to put myself in the corner of the screen now so you can see what we are working with. So we upload everything to an online journal, and it basically looks like a blog, and you basically upload like little blog posts to it that just sort of help you collect everything, and all your findings and research and stuff. I'm just going to go through like the photo side of it and creating a portfolio. First thing we have, I like to do a sort of planning and ideas mind map and mood board for the start of a project. So I was kind of thinking to begin with, I knew I wanted to do portraiture, and I knew that I wanted to incorporate some different styles, and I definitely knew I wanted to still work within the landscape. And then I love looking at Pinterest. Pinterest is literally my best friend when it comes to coming up with project ideas. So I was kind of looking on Pinterest and basically spent my whole summer just pinning things to this Pinterest board of like photo ideas that I kind of liked and thought I can kind of mimic the styles of and just kind of take ideas for inspiration from. I had some sort of summer ideas when I went to Wales with my friends. I was kind of taking some photos that I thought maybe I could copy the styles of again for myself. And then I did my first shoot back at in Falmouth, at Gadrevi, of these kind of hands, and mimicking the styles that I'd seen on Pinterest. And that was kind of the starting point of the project. Those hands pictures really kind of lifted the project off the ground. Although I then did my first initial shoot in the studio and got my friends involved, because I thought maybe I don't want it to be just self-portraiture, maybe I want it to be portraits as well. So I got my friends Sophie and Sophie, both of them helped me with this shoot, but the images weren't really working for me, and I knew that I didn't want to be in the studio for this project. I knew I wanted to get outdoors, and kind of the easiest thing to do was just to use myself. So this second shoot that I did with the hands and the kind of like grassy, I don't even know what that is, I think it's grass, isn't it, and like straw type grass, that kind of lifted the project, I think, with the light on those hands and the shadows and things. I was like, yep, this is kind of the direction I want to go in. So then what I did was I went back through the Pinterest photos and gathered a lot more that brought both of these things in together, the nature and the portraiture. And I really like these ones of the circle mirrors as well, so as you'll see later on, that comes into the project as well. Really like the ideas of mirrors and reflections. And the next shoot I did was very experimental. I was kind of looking at those images from Pinterest that were kind of like looking up at a person, but it kind of really distorts your body, and I kind of like it and I kind of don't. But I felt these images were still too kind of posed, and it wasn't kind of the look I was going for. I wanted it to be more reflective. Then I did another shoot where we're just kind of really playing around with all the possible ideas that I could pull from my imagination. And I also got that big mirror. I bought that mirror from ASOS. It was in the sale, it was £9. It didn't even say how big it was, and when it turned up, it was huge. It was actually like, I don't know if you can really see in it was big. And yeah, it just helped really create these like really interesting photos with the reflections and nature, and I really like the mirror images a lot. Then I also experimented with Polaroids and the kind of like instantness of that kind of image, and thought maybe I could reflect it towards maybe talking about social media and that kind of thing, because at this time this project was running alongside my dissertation, and I wrote my dissertation all about Instagram and selfies and like the nature of that kind of thing. Yeah, then I did this next shoot where I just went for a walk really, and I took my camera because I knew there was this kind of strawy type plant down near the beach, so I wanted to take some photos of that. I think I'd had a conversation with a tutor and they said to look at different parts of nature because I'd just been shooting mostly at the beach. So I did a shoot in the forest that was a very much more performative, but I didn't really like these images. There's definitely an idea there, but it's not what I'm not that like kind of performance artist. Not really my style, but I gave it a go and they were alright. Again, I went to another location that was this kind of like moorland, and again the performance, it just doesn't quite fit until I got these images down here. I just saw this clearing. I remembered it from the last trip that we'd taken to this place. And I was like, you know what, that might actually look cool with like those rocks that are sort of covered in grass, and the light was coming through the trees just perfect. I was like, we need to get this shot. I think this will be good. And I really, really like this image. This makes it into the final cut, as it were. Then I did some sort of experimenting with the layout, what images work well together, and I did sort of two. I did one of like the beachy and then one of like the forest. Some of these images you haven't seen yet, they're just here. Anders got his drone out and I wanted to take some images because my tutor said to get photos sort of looking down, and I was like, oh, how am I going to do that? And I was like, drone. So we did that. I wanted to see what it would look like with an image from up above in the trees looking down on me, and then I took a photo looking up at the trees as well, so you got like the clearing in like the sky, which they don't really work how I thought they would. But then we went down to the beach and I got these images that I really like. It's just kind of the figure in the landscape really far away. Really like these. I think they work well. Also these ones, the mirrors with the hands, I really liked. And then just some like close-up shots of nature as well. They come into play as well alongside the portraiture. The last thing I decided to do was to go in the sea. I thought that was the one thing, as I was coming to the end of this project, it was the last thing that I just felt wasn't quite there. I decided that I wanted to bring the project all just focusing on the ocean. I was like, that is my focus point now. It's going to be beach, ocean, my connection to that landscape. And the only thing that was missing was actually going to like in the water. So on the 29th of November 2019, I got in the sea in my t-shirt and jeans. And I actually really liked the images that we created, and I also got the drone out and did some photos that way, which worked quite well. And I got some really cool images of the mirror in the sand. I just started playing around and I got one image there that I really love. You will have probably seen it on my Instagram. Then I experimented with the layout. Easiest way I can tell you to do this is to print out the images and then stick them on your bedroom wall with blue tack. It's literally the best thing, or maybe do it at uni, because I pulled the paint off the wall and then had to repaint the walls, so maybe not at home. But the way that our tutors then told us to do it was to hire a projector from the uni and project onto the wall, and then literally in Photoshop you can just move the images around on the page, and then you can look up at the wall and be like, does it work? Does it not? And if you do it big enough you can actually get them to the right scale, which is what I did. And I made sure they were the right size on the page by sticking an A3 bit of paper to the wall and then making the image that size over it. So it wasn't accurate in Photoshop for the size, but it was accurate when I looked at the wall, how big they were. So I decided to print the final work on matte paper because it was just the most clean and it worked best with like the tones, because a lot of the project was very like neutral colours, basically because it was very dark and not particularly sunny when I shot most of the work. And I also decided to make a mini zine. Now, it was nothing like I really wanted it to be, but I used the critical review that I wrote at the end of the project, because that's how it works with projects that you make, well, at Falmouth anyway. When you get to the end of the work, you critically review what you did, why you did it, who inspired you, that kind of thing. So I just decided that I would combine that writing with the little zine that I made. So as you'll see, it's very, very naff. And I just printed it at the uni reprographic centre, so it was very, all the colours were off, but it worked for what I wanted. And it just, I'm not gonna lie, I think it did boost my grade by like the tiniest percentage, because it was just like kind of saying, this is something I could have potentially done better, but I've tried it. And it kind of just, they're like, oh, she tried something else, give her a little point. I don't know how it works, but they mentioned it in my feedback, so they definitely responded well to it. And yeah, that was the project in a whole. I hope you enjoyed seeing that. I'm now going to move on to my other project, which was my final portfolio of third year. So yeah, basically two projects, a dissertation and audience and context, which runs alongside this final portfolio, which I have to say for me is an odd one to end on, because I still feel like I didn't really go to my full potential with my ideas. But you know, this final portfolio was midway through when coronavirus decided to take over the world, so I have to give myself some credit, I guess. I basically wanted to kind of continue the project, but I wanted to take it down the road that I didn't take it down, which was when I first started that project, I started in the studio and I just left it behind. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go back to that and try again, but still bringing in those thoughts about nature. I thought maybe I wanted to make it about fashion and sustainability, because I definitely feel a strong interest in that area. So I wanted to bring fashion into it, kind of natural beauty, nature of course. Now it takes a very nature turn, but to begin with it's very fashion, so yeah. So this was my initial mood board. I really love all of the colours and the images within it. I kind of tried to recreate-ish. So yeah, let's get into it. I first started with a little session shooting at home. My tutor, when he saw these images, said, not to be offensive or rude or something along those lines, but these photos kind of look like a project about someone that's very depressed. Now, when I took these photos, I was having a bad day. I didn't want to take photos, but I knew that I had to start somewhere. So when he said that, I was like, that's because it is, Ollie. Please leave me alone. So yeah, moving on. But not gonna lie, those images make for good Instagram photos, so there's an upper. So I started by going to charity shops in Falmouth and just finding some clothes that I could potentially use, and I also took to eBay and found eBay very helpful too. So these, all the clothes used within this project were found secondhand, because I was trying to be sustainable-ish in that way. I didn't want to buy loads of new things. So yeah, this project, this kind of set things off, very fashion, very editorial. That's what I was going for, but unfortunately in your final portfolio you should really go with something that you're kind of good at. I went for something that was more out of my comfort zone, I hadn't really tried before, and you don't really have a lot of time to kind of explore that. So yeah, maybe play to your strong suits, but again, this turned out fine. I got a 2-1, so yeah. So then I was looking at clothing lookbooks because my tutor suggested I did. I really liked these styles, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really have the confidence to really like get going with it. So yes, next shoot. I decided to bring nature into it. I bought some flowers, gypsophilia I believe they're called. They're really pretty, and I kept these from February till May. I dried them and they looked really cool dried, but then I threw them away when I moved, so sad. Yeah, so it's just, again, at this point testing ideas, and yeah, really liked this kind of straw. Again, just more experimenting really with literally anything. I really like this one with like the flowers in the jeans pocket. I thought that was quite clever. Yeah, then I brought in an orange gel over the lights and the camera to try and bring in a more sort of like romantic feel to the photos. I just kind of tried things out with that. And then layering. I decided that maybe like testing some sort of layering the images, and I did all of this, excuse me, I did all of this physically. So I had brown paper and I had the images. People thought they were Photoshop though, and I was like, then like clearly not. So that was kind of annoying. There was something that my tutor said, I can't really remember what it is. Oh, I think he said he liked the images with nature, and he said I should go out and find things like out and about, bring them back into the studio and photograph them. So I did, and that kind of sparked a whole new stem on the project, and it started with representation of like life and death, and because they were like dead plants, and that's kind of the way the project went, which was completely off the point of fashion, but you could sort of use the sort of elements as fashion to reflect like the old and the new and that kind of thing. I don't really want to go into like the full details of it because, to be honest, I can't fully remember what I said, but I will show you in a minute where you can find out more about what I did for the project because it's all online. So yeah, I just started taking photos of dead plants that I found. Then I decided to shoot with a black background just to see what that looked like, and oh boy, it brought out the contrast in those leaves. And oh look, just look at that brown and green. And I had an idea. I wanted to explore different ways of seeing plants and nature. So I thought about when I was a kid, I used to make nature prints out of leaves and paint. So I bought a lino cutting kit to use the ink and the roller and stuff, just to do it a bit more like cleanly, less mess. And I started making ink prints of leaves and things, and it works pretty well, to be honest. Now, it didn't really get the kind of response that I wanted from my tutors, but they definitely said I could incorporate it some way if I wanted to, and I did. My project kind of took a turn at this point, and I kind of just decided to wrap things up as they were. So I scanned in all of the prints that I did, started creating my final image selection, which again I did by putting all the prints up on my bedroom wall. I really enjoy doing that, so I've done it in every, I've done it in every uni bedroom that I've had. Did that with the prints and got my final image selection down. I did some more shoots at home just to see if there was anything I could possibly get out of the plants and my imagination, and literally just any ideas. I needed them at this point, so I did a few home shoots, and then I did some printing tests on acetate and on tracing paper, because you will see in a minute where that comes in. And then once I got my final image selection, I made a website. So I knew that that was how I wanted to present my final project, was as a website or an editorial, and I decided I wanted to make it kind of an editorial website. Now obviously the project took a different turn and I started shooting a lot more nature than I did the fashion stuff, but I still made a website and I still think it looks pretty cool, so I'll show you. But you can also check it out for yourself at justforamoment.co.uk which I took inspiration from the song from High School Musical, the musical, the series. Yes, I did. It's a beautiful song. It's got nothing to do with nature and leaves and death, but it's a cute song, nevertheless. I was very obsessed with High School Musical, the musical, the series when I was coming to the end of this project, so there we go. So I've incorporated the brown paper, the prints and the photos, and oh, I also did a few little video clips, as you'll see here on the website. I just experimented. I literally used my washing up bowl and some petals and some water and created these little moving image bits because I just felt like the website needed something else a bit more interactive. So yeah. Oh, I also did some scans of flowers and things. And those are on the website too. And yeah, that is the website. I love it. And I did even pay for a custom URL, and then it still sticks that bit up at the top that said this site was designed with Wix, which is so annoying, but nevertheless. There is also an about page on the website if you would like to read more about the work. You can go and do that, check it out, justforamoment.co.uk. Yes. Moving on to the last module of the project, which was the audience and context module, which basically was going to be our degree show exhibition, but because the degree show obviously isn't happening due to coronavirus, this module changed from being that to being an exhibition proposal, which was basically a big document that we had to compile of how we would present the work in an exhibition proposal. So proposing the idea basically to like a potential gallery or space, to propose the idea of the exhibition and how it relates to the audience, who the audience is, and the context in which the work sits within the art world, or any world industry basically. The proposal basically includes an introductory statement about the project. Oh, what I didn't say was that the exhibition proposal wasn't about what we would do for the degree show if it were to be happening. It was, you can come up with any exhibition you could possibly want in any gallery in the entire world. Like, the world is literally your oyster, do whatever you want. Which I took one step further and did like 3 things. So the website in itself that I made for the final project, that in itself is an exhibition. It's out there for the world to see online. But I thought, you know what, I still want to make like put together a pretend actual exhibition. So I did that, and I also made an editorial for a magazine, which is a real magazine but a fake editorial. So I will show you those. And basically the rest of the document, you just had to explain why you were using that form of presentation and the materials and things. So like if you're printing your photos, what paper you're printing on, how you're mounting it to the wall, that kind of thing. And yeah, so you've already seen the website, but I created an editorial for the magazine serial, which is a kind of design photography, lifestyle kind of magazine, journal, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of very based on like slow living and a lot of design work, and it's just really, really nice. There's some bit of travel in there as well. I just thought if my work's going to sit anywhere, it's going to be in that very prestigious magazine. So I put my work together in the like editorial kind of format for the magazine. You will see as you flick through the pages like on the screen that some of the pages throughout are like in the middle and slightly smaller. If I were to be printing those smaller pages would be printed on acetate or tracing paper, and with like the little print of the leaf on top of them, so when you were flicking through the pages there'd be like little smaller inserts that overlay over the text. I just thought that was a cute kind of idea, and yeah, I think that turned out really well. I wish I'd got to like print it and make it look like an actual magazine, because I just photoshopped my photo on the cover of the latest issue. Yeah, I really like doing that kind of stuff on Photoshop, where you like superimpose things into stuff. I'm not good at it at all, but it looks kind of cool when you do it and do it well. And the other thing that I did was an exhibition, and I chose the gallery that is here in Somerset. It's called Hauser and Worth Gallery. It's in Burton, I think, if I remember correctly. And they had I remember because I've been there, they had a really cool part of it's all built on a farm. So one of the galleries is a barn, and they still have all the old interior walls that are like that brick of a barn, and it looked so cool. And I thought, you know what, my photos would look really cool against that texture and colour of the walls. So I went online and I found images of their galleries, and I managed to actually find one. Oh no, it wasn't, I was going to say of it empty, but it wasn't empty. I managed to fit my work over the top of everything so that you couldn't even tell that there was other stuff on the walls. And yeah, I created that gallery space as if my work was put up there, and I'm gonna say it looks pretty cool. So yeah, that's what I did for that project, and I really like it. So that was my portfolio for third year at uni. How crazy is that? That is it. That is all the uni work I will ever create. It's madness. I kind of wish I'd done some other things, but you know what? Like, it's too late now, isn't it? But yeah, I came out of uni with a 2-1. I'm so proud of myself for that. I've worked hard for it, and yeah, I'm really proud of myself. Let me know any questions you have about dissertation writing, or if you want to know anything else about my projects that I've just shown you, ask me in the comments below. I love chatting to you guys, so yeah, let me know what you think, and literally any questions. I will be making a video about my dissertation very soon, so if you're looking forward to that, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in a new video very soon. Bye!